right, to understand how widely we will see bridge packaging in the days to come and does it really work, I'm joined now by Mayank Shah, Senior Category Head of Parlay Products. Akshay D'souza, CMO of Bizom, is with us on the show, and Shirish Pardeshi, Senior Analyst FMCG with Centrum Broking, is also speaking with us today. Welcome to all of you. Mayank, let me just begin by getting your take. Is bridge packaging something that companies are looking at seriously right now? And explain to us how it helps.
Well, bridge packaging as a concept is something that's been used in industry, and we have been using it since some time now. So whenever you have to, migrate consumers from a lower price point to a higher price point, you typically use it. A good example of that can be when companies migrated consumers from a 5 rupee price point to 10 rupee price point. We did that. That was about, I think, 10 years back. That's when it was used. Probably the term bridge pack was not coined then, but that happened. And we are again looking at it now, given that 5 rupee price point is not becoming viable for many companies. That's happening again. So we are looking at moving consumers from probably a 5 or a 10 rupee price point pack to a 20 rupee price point pack. And that's when, again, we'll have probably packs at about 15 rupees or so. If you look at the volumes, I think a large part of FMCG volumes come from 5 and 10 rupee pack. And given the inflation, it's getting difficult. It's not just inflation. I think even the volume, which is there in a 5 or a 10 rupee pack, at times is not good enough for satiating, the requirement of consumer with that kind of volume. So if I'm talking about a 5 rupee biscuit pack, that volume is not good enough to satiate the hunger.
So Mayank, how exactly would a bridge packaging help in this case? You'll get the customer to spend more, but give them a little less?
Yeah, so on a pro rata, you give them a little more. You incentivize consumers to buy that, higher value pack or a higher price pack by giving him more pro rata, weight. So if I'm saying, let's say, 5 rupees, if I'm just giving an example, 25 grams, and if my 10 rupee pack is 50 grams, maybe I may introduce something at 7 rupees or something like that, and I may, provide them probably something around 75 grams, more than pro rata, 75 grams or so. So that's just an example I'm giving. But when you give them pro rata, a little more to consumer and incentivize him to buy a higher pack than the current popular pack, so as to ensure that he moves on to that higher price point and eventually to a price point which you want him to move to. So probably if I'm talking about a migration of 10 rupee to 20 rupee, I bring in a 15 rupee, which probably makes it easier for him to, take the leap, move to 15, and then over a period of time to 20 rupee.
So hence the term bridge packaging. Mr. D'Souza, do you think we'll see more and more of this as, shrinkflation seems to have reached its limit? And in parts of that interview as well with Mr. Mehta, he talks about the fact that beyond a point, how much lesser shampoo can you put in a little packet, right? People will need that bare minimum amount after a point. So it's not going to serve the purpose. Is that why we're going to be seeing more and more of this?
So I think, firstly, I think the important thing to understand is when companies are very, very heavily dependent on market share at a particular price point or at a lower price point, the risk of doing shrinkflation is a real risk, because there is a risk of market share shift. And that's the real risk. But what shrinkflation also does is it can quickly help you improve realizations, right, from a company. So you can quickly pass on costs directly. Now, bridge packs typically help you de-risk this market share risk that you have at specific price points like 5 or 10, right? You put a bridge pack, you're not losing those market share at 5 and 10. What you are trying to do is trying to get consumers now used to a new price point. And this exercise is not a knee-jerk quick fix. It is a longer-term play, because you have to now build preference for retail first, which is your Kirana store, and followed by customer preference to that particular price point. It is a blend of retail strategy as well as consumer preference that you have to play. And it is not a quick fix. So if you look at types of brands who can kind of do it, it's typically going to be leader brands who are going to be able to play this bridge pack strategy upfront. Challenger brands, in all probability, will follow the leader in that category. But a bridge pack, while it's a safe, de-risked option for shrinkflation, it is a longer term play to improve margins on a bridge pack, because to build preference takes time.
I think more companies will go in for this, Shirish, as they seem to have reached their zenith of how much shrinkflation they can bring in?
I think my view is a bit different. Obviously, the industry will have a different ways to tackle the inflation. But in reality, while talking to the trade, what they are saying that when the consumer wallet share is getting shrunk because of the food inflation, I think the convenience pack and the sizes will definitely become more important. Now, again, as Mayank said in the beginning, this is not a new strategy, while the term which is coined now is the bridge pack. But whenever you see that there are opportunities to improve your sales throughput, I think companies will try and invent or reinvent the price point. As we said that India's consumers are very, very value conscious, and this bridge pack strategy is really going to fill in those gaps. At least the discerning consumers who would look at that they want to have the quality product at a quality price or the affordable price, what we can say that. So the sense which I'm getting is that many players will follow this because there is no respite from the inflation, and especially the imported inflation doesn't look like in the near term will fall drastically.
But Shirish, do you think that this will actually help in improving demand? Because that at the end of the day is the purpose, right? To get more out of the consumer's wallet.
I personally believe, and when we speak to the trade and what Akshay has also pointed out, initially the consumer might take some time to get readjusted. But if the affordability is the name of the game today, I think most consumers will try and pick up those packs. Because at the end, as I'm again repetitively saying, that Indian customers are very, very value conscious. And when you are affected with that income pyramid, which is especially ACC, C and D, I think they will definitely see the value, and that will definitely improve to a certain extent. I'm not saying the entire demand will get subsided because already the pack prices have moved. So there could be a management which can maintain the demand level. I don't think personally that demand will grow from this level, but at least, as Akshay has pointed out, the companies will be able to maintain their market share at this price point.
You've said that this is not new. Does it generally work at this point? Or is the bridge pack also sort of a bridged strategy which can work only for certain products at certain periods of time?
Mayank has pointed out 5, 10, 15, 20.
Mayank actually. Yes, Mayank.
Yeah. No, so ideally, I think, going forward, you will see probably more of this happening given the inflation. And it's not that, we're going to use it one time, as I had shared earlier, and as Akshay also pointed out. I think it's all about incentivizing. What Shirish also said that, if consumers find value in it. So when you are giving them or showing them that value, and we've done that successfully in past, it's not just about moving them to next immediate price point, but we have probably, upsold packs almost 2x or 3x of the popular MRP. So it's all about showing them the value. If you're showing them the value, consumers are ready to buy, the bigger packs. And when you typically talk about, the so-called bridge packs, you can probably push it in a way where you are showing good value to the consumers, and that's one thing that would continue happening as long as you see companies trying to push up the volumes and not get affected or not allow their volumes to be affected because of shrinkflation.